Welcome back to another edition of Weekly with Retro, where we talk all film and pop culture news of interest, and most of this is curated by Retro Nerd Girl. How are you doing today?
I'm doing really good. How are you?
I'm doing great, doing great. Really had a nice response to our first video, so
Oh yeah.
so Retro is not going to fire me from the show because it went pretty good, and it really again was a nice variety of stuff to talk about. And so, really enjoying that, and we're going to kind of keep this going this week. It's a bunch,
Oh
a
yeah.
bunch to touch on. Now, first thing, a few box office topics that we want to give a little shout out to Kung Fu Panda 4. According to the report, it's I believe it's over 500 million. It made 500 million in the box office
Wow.
off of an 80 million plus budget.
That's how you do it.
Very solid for this is obviously through DreamWorks and Universal,
Mm-hmm.
and obviously this is profitable. Now, I always say, well, Universal. I look at the box office a lot, and I'm like, oh, who's going to make the most money? And they have Despicable Me Part 4, which is a $1 billion franchise about to come out later this year. And
Yes. The Fall Guy. Yeah. Ooh.
Fall
Mm-hmm.
Guy, yeah.
Yeah.
So really looking forward to that. But what are your, as far as with Kung Fu Panda, I haven't seen this yet, but just a little shout out to that franchise. And just what do you think of the profitability of it?
I think it's really fantastic. I only saw the first Kung Fu Panda. I didn't know that there was a fourth one. They went. They've been working behind the scenes, but this is actually really exciting because for a long time we really considered Disney to be the cornerstone of animated projects, and we've been seeing in the last, I don't know, like 5 years, they've really fallen off. And here we have Universal come through with a 1-2 punch with with animated movies that a lot of people are excited for. The excitement for Kung Fu Panda is absolutely ridiculous, I think, because who even knew that there were more than three, and now we have this emerging, and then people are also looking for family friendly material that's not full of messaging that they don't want their kids to see too young. So I think this is I hope other companies, other studios that do animation will take a look at what Universal is doing. This is the tried and true stuff that's been working for years. Just tell great stories.
Exactly. And if you have a franchise, keep giving that audience what they want. Apparently, they are giving this audience. And for those wondering, the highest box office of Kung Fu Panda Part 1 and 2, I believe, crossed 620 million. So it's a little staying power with this franchise. It's still crossing 500 million. Another film coming out in another week.
Yes.
Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, May the 9th, in 1 week. And I will say with this, it has, I believe, a budget. It's 120 million.
That's crazy
for the film, right?
Yeah.
So that's pretty good. It's tracking to make about 55 million opening weekend, which is on par with the franchise that it normally does. What's your thoughts with this, and any anticipation for this one?
Well, see, okay, when I first saw like maybe like a little teaser or something that I saw, I was kind of disappointed because it was like, oh gosh, this is all going to be animated. There's I felt like maybe there was going to be a problem with it being live action animation, that kind of thing. And when I saw the trailer, I was really intrigued. There's a story there, and there's the acting looks really good for a lot of the characters that I saw, and I was like, well, okay, they're doing two things I think is very important to get people through the door. They're showing people that there's actually a story without giving everything away, but and also they're showing us how these characters in it, even though they could come off as uncanny valley. It's
Okay.
very
Sure.
easy for that to happen. The uncanny valley that you don't want to have happen. And they've managed to bypass that by giving these characters a lot of emotion. And you can see that in the way that they're animated. It looks
Mhm.
fantastic. So I can easily see myself sitting down to this and at least getting deep into the story, and
Mhm.
liking this. So this looks really promising. I really do hope that this is going to be very good. And also the promotional work that they're doing for this movie is quite outstanding. I don't know if you have,
Mhm.
there's a clip of the in New York City and other
Mhm.
places where there are monkeys on horseback, or which are basically like stunt people that they have acting and in monkey makeup and looking like they're part of the Planet of the Apes, and it's like
Right.
really cool. That's the
Mhm.
stuff I dreamt of when I was a kid, and I saw the very first earlier versions of Planet of the Apes back in the 70s.
Okay.
This is it. Makeup technology has improved, but also, they're using it for a tactical reason for the promotion of this thing. It's marketing and
Mhm.
it's wonderful. I love great marketing.
Right, definitely. That is a nice little stunt there with a video clip that you included with the list. So that'll probably be playing on the screen here. But that's interesting marketing. And then again, just building up the hype for this film. The
Yeah.
director of Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, Wes Ball. He's the Maze Runner director, which I'm a fan
Okay.
of what he did with Maze Runner. That's a pretty contained type of story that they did a sequel for some reason. But anyway, with that, and side note, Westball is also rumored to be making the live action Legend of Zelda film
Oh.
as well. So we'll see what we do with that. But yeah, this film, I will say honestly, like growing up, this wasn't the biggest franchise for me personally, but
Mhm.
definitely I watch event films, and this is a constitutes as an event film.
Mhm.
And so I'll definitely be seated. Any excuse I have to go to the theaters, I'm going to go to the theaters. Like right now, I don't know if you notice, well, in some areas, they have this re-release. It's Sony, but they're re-releasing the Spider-Man movies.
Oh, wow.
And and now this week is Spider-Man 3. So I wasn't going to go back to see that one, but but it's like Amazing Spider-Man's gonna be next. So I'm gonna go to the theaters to see that. It's just like I said, just give me a reason to go to the theaters. I'm gonna go
Oh,
see
yeah,
it.
that's a
So,
great idea. That's
yeah.
Sony, they're doing everything they possibly can with that franchises that they possibly can, without stepping on Marvel's toes over at Disney. So I
Mhm.
think I like what they're doing. I just think that not all the time do they hit a home run with their movies, as we know of. Madam Web didn't do so well, but I think what they're what they're doing with a lot of having those movies being played in the theater is really doing a couple of things. One, we're getting the nostalgia back from all the people who saw those movies, and we're keeping the name of Spider-Man in the zeitgeist.
Definitely,
Mhm.
definitely. So
Yeah.
that's pretty cool. Now as far as with as far as the shot at Madam Web, I'm kind of infamous in saying that it's not that bad of a movie. It's not a good movie. Okay, Madam Web is
Mhm.
not a good movie. I maintain that, but it's not unwatchable, and that's a
Mm.
difference for me. Now
Yeah.
it's going to be on Netflix. So if y'all haven't seen Madam Web yet, because a lot of people have not,
Yeah, I
give it a
haven't.
spit on Netflix. It's not unbearable. But now one film that probably could be with Sony, we got
Oh,
Kraven the
yeah.
Hunter. Now it originally had a late summer 2024 release.
Mhm.
It's been delayed to December 13th, 2024. Not a lot of explanation why. It's probably like some corporate talk, but
Mhm.
that's kind of I feel retro, and you let me know.
Mhm.
with when you throw a film in December, it better be like an event level type film, a family type film. I
Mhm.
kind of feel like it's being sent to December to die retro. Like, what are you, what are your thoughts with Kraven? I watch all this stuff, but I'm definitely I'm ready for this to be bad. But what are your thoughts? Any anticipation? Hey, this could be a
Yeah.
surprise. Who knows, right?
I would have said that it had a chance at some point, but now it's really, the slot in which they put the movie is basically, it's doomed to be very, not, look, there if it is a fantastic movie, I'm sure everyone will go to the theater to take a look at it. But
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going up against a new Lord of the Rings movie, if I'm not
Mm-hmm.
mistaken,
Right.
and, that's bad.
Yeah, this is the animated
That's
War of
bad.
Rohirrim, and I'm probably
Yes.
sure I'm not saying it right. It's an animated film, but
Yeah.
it's Lord of the Rings, right?
Yeah, no, yeah, no, 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 no. That's it. That's where all the money's going towards. And it's
Mm,
gotta be really horrible for people not to go to see this. But animated,
mm,
there's a lot of things you can get away with. Do you happen to
mm.
know what studio this is with, The Lord of the Rings?
Let's see,
Eh,
Lord of the Rings. It's distributed through Warner Brothers. So yeah, so Warner Brothers is putting
okay.
this one out,
Okay, and
which is interesting.
which is yeah, it is very interesting because Warner Brothers, everything outside of DC seems to be doing much better off in the yes, in the box office. So this is actually a good omen for this. As far as we're talking about who's overseeing this, right? Is that
Mhm.
Pam Abdi and
Mike DeLuca, yeah.
yeah, yeah. So these guys are overseeing these great stories.
Mhm,
We got Joker 2 coming out. All these
mhm,
fantastic stories that they're nurturing and making sure that Warner Brothers is still on their feet no matter what else is
mhm.
happening. So
Yeah.
I think I trust those guys, and I trust that this will be like at least a decent movie.
Yeah,
And
yeah. I mean, it's a big franchise, right? Lord of the Rings, and again, you go into December.
Mhm,
This is a type of film, even if it's animated. I mean, we just saw Kung Fu Panda makes money. You can make
mhm,
money animated. Now, and also making this animated because I'm a late bloomer with watching the original Lord of the Rings.
mhm.
A lot of people are very shocked every time I say that, but I just didn't really get into them in real time. And then I
Yes.
kind of caught up, you know what I'm saying, after the fact. And then, of course, a lot of people warned me that the Lord of the Rings, I believe the Ring of Power thing on Amazon, like that's
Oh yeah.
not a good representation. According to, again, just what I haven't watched much of that, but I just heard that's not a good representation
Yes.
of the franchise. I guess what's your thoughts with that? And again, I haven't really gotten to those either because of the
Mhm.
warnings I was
Yeah,
getting.
yeah, and that was, an Amazon production, and
Mhm.
so that would be like a separate kind of thing.
Right.
However, uh, this, just all I've got right now is the title, and I know
Mhm.
that there are a lot of people who absolutely love the Lord of the Rings and
Mhm.
would do anything to see more. Um,
Yeah.
and
This could
so
be a good bridge for me to, again, to kind of check out this format, the animated film.
yeah, yeah. So let's see what happens to the lead up of this, as far as what the trailer is going to look like, what the posters are going to look like, all that marketing, if there is any. That could also play a big factor. And also,
Mhm,
is this movie playing into the current politics of today? That could also hurt the movie. So if it's politic free, well, it looks like we're going to get a great movie that maybe the whole family can watch. I'm not sure we're talking about war, right? So it may have some, it may be a little bit more on the grown up side.
mhm,
Even if it's a rated R animated film, it could still do very well if
yeah.
it's got a great story. So I'm curious about more, and you know, when you put it next to Kraven, I think there's more. There's going to be more interest about the Lord of the Rings, and Kraven
Yeah.
is definitely um, based on the teaser trailer for Kraven. Unfortunately, they've already gotten a lot of the lore completely mixed up, and so people are not happy about that. They just aren't.
Yeah. Yeah, Kraven, that trailer, it definitely takes a lot of liberties. Now, I understand adapting, comic to screen,
Yes.
at times you have to translate things, but then you think of adaptations like Watchmen. Zack Snyder literally
Yes.
recreated the comic book. So it's like sometimes you want to just use what's there. They're not with this film, but now I will say one more quick thing with Lord of the Rings is that you mentioned the good streak that Warner Bros. Is on this year.
Yes.
This could be another, notch in their belt there. And I know the original
Yeah.
films, again, still very popular. So again, Warner Brothers, they kind of getting themselves together right before our eyes.
Yes. Yes.
Overall with that.
Yes. And like I said, I think the team up of those two executives over at Warner Brothers is doing them some justice, because they're really, sculpting some nice movies that are actually helping the studio look like it's producing pretty good movies. I
Yeah.
mean, you can't say that for every single movie that comes out of Warner Brothers, but at least you know their touches. You know where they've been sculpting things out.
Right, and I know there's a there's an interesting narrative on social media about Warner Brothers and their stock prices, and it's
Ooh.
going down, and
Ah.
a lot of people are like, "Oh, is something massive gonna happen within the company, or are they gonna fire David Zaslav?" All that stuff.
Mhm.
That's not happening, but
No.
and again, in fact, when you have a film studio, which again cross $1 billion international box office
Oh,
already,
yeah.
in the first quarter of the year. Uh, those are all good signs. Now,
Mhm.
I'll say this, and I know that people will still run with the narrative. The stocks are going to fall, and like everyone's going to get fired. But people got to realize too, all these studios, they have very interesting accounting tactics,
Yes.
and they appear to not have quote unquote money on hand, or controlling their budget.
Uh-huh.
uh, those are just real creative ways they get around not paying creditors and buying themselves more time. So just that's a business thing, and I know a lot of people we just kind of go off the surface. So I get it. The point we're making though is that Warner Brothers, they're shaping up to have, again, the most successful um, year for any film studio this year. They
Yeah.
likely will. So a lot of
Eg
things coming up. The Beetlejuice, you mentioned Joker,
Ooh, yeah.
things like that. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Those are some great ones, and I think, like, at least as far as the interest is going for the audience, people look like they're gonna actually go to the movies to see those. And again,
Mhm.
there's no politics wrapped around those. There's no
Mhm.
it looks like creators are telling stories, and that's what audiences want right now. They want great stories.
Well, we have a comic book character here,
Ooh,
Evangeline.
okay.
This is a Image Comics, as
Yeah.
far as character right now. What makes this
Mhm.
interesting is the obvious, the probably the hottest name of last year, Margot Robbie, is
Yes.
attached to this. And this is through
Mhm.
Warner Brothers. Director Olivia Wilde. You got Ken Berg, who is a pretty big producer,
Mhm.
and Margot Robbie's team's a lucky chap. They're adapting Deadpool creators character Rob Liefeld. He's really cool on Twitter.
Mhm.
They adapted his comic book. Again, it was through Image Comics. The point of bringing this up, first off, is we see as a time right now with IPs retro where
Yes.
you want to do something fresh, you want to kind of break the mold, and again, it's got to be good stories, obviously, but this is kind of how you do it. Get like a character that I know no one knows about.
Yes.
But you have a name like Margot Robbie, guarantee what her next streak. Well, I mean, this Barbie streak, it's going to follow her for several more projects where people's like, oh, Margot Robbie, right? But what's your thoughts with just, again, having her attached? And I mean, like the character itself, I'm going to actually jump down here. The character, again, is from Image Comics. And the way it's described, it's a visual line. And again, Margot Robbie would be obviously starring as this heroine.
Yes.
She's an angel who fights the forces of evil and often finds herself face to face with demons and monsters. So that's a lot of that. That's a good fan base for just this mystical stuff and all this stuff.
Yes.
Says she was the most feared warrior in the heavens. That could be interesting. And so you have demons, angels, comic book characters, fighting. This could I don't know, they could go R with this, to be quite honest.
They need to go R. They need to go R with this. I mean, if anything is inspiring me to say this, is that when we get gritty, cool stories and we try to make them PG-13 or everybody can watch, they end up not really hitting a chord at all. And this looks like she's got swords, right? Let her use them. She has a couple of different cool outfits. I saw some online and I was like, yeah. And she isn't wearing a whole lot of clothes. Please don't put her in a full outfit.
Right.
Leather.
Cover up everything.
Yeah. Like actually try to be close to the comic. Let us see this actually in live action. Stop changing things to fit our world. This is fantasy and fun. So if they go the route of actually portraying this character a little grittier, and also and giving us the storylines that are a little bit more spicier than just we're going to try to make this for everyone. No, just make a good story. And this looks like it's going to be this could be a lot of fun. This could be a lot of fun. Yeah, me too.
I mean, because this isn't, like I said, this isn't a comic book I regularly read before, but having these names attached now. The creator of the character, Rob Liefeld, same guy who created Deadpool. He had comments in the past saying they had like 2 or 3 other opportunities to try to make this character, and he didn't believe in the story. Right, so he takes it very seriously, right? And I think it's really good to have the creator, right, that's saying like, I'm not just going to make it just to have a franchise. I mean, he already has Deadpool, so he's eating off of that, for the rest of his life. But with this character, he again explains Evangeline resonated so powerful with the audience because her story of redemption is one that is so relatable. A fallen angel sentenced to redeem herself by serving humanity. Earth is a foreign environment to her. She must adapt in order to save herself as well as mankind. Pretty interesting quotes again, just with this character. I am interested, Retro.
Yeah, I mean, imagine a movie that's like a cross between Wonder Woman and Deadpool. I mean, fish out of water. I'm seeing, just like the first Wonder Woman, and just like all the funny, gritty stuff, maybe not so funny, but gritty things that you got from Deadpool, a little comedy to keep things a little light, but definitely gritty is where I'm hoping that they go for. It looks like this is actually got a lot of Christian tones to it. And so that would probably be fun. I'm not sure, exactly how well this will go with every community, but it definitely looks like it would be intriguing.
Like if they lean into, because if you do films with like angels and demons, like it can go all over the place. But with this being like a fantasy type thing, kind of lean into like some of the Greek mythology and things like that, kind of those elements. of the angels and demons and stuff like that. I think, like I said, they can do a lot here. A fun fact with this, again, this is being optioned by Warner Brothers through Margot Robbie's Lucky Chat production team. We talked about Warner Brothers, how they on a nice little streak, making good decisions because of Mike DeLuca, Pam Abdi. One of the previous attempts to get this project out was through New Line Cinema when Mike DeLuca was running New Line Cinema. So he tried to get this done years ago.
Mike DeLuca. Okay.
So, hey, just saying, there's some good decisions being made. We're just waiting on good DC decisions, right?
Yeah. And basically, I mean, this is great because this is not DC, right? So it's not connected to any of that stuff. This is, Image Comics. They really do have a lot of interesting comics on the shelves at my local comic book store that I'm like, ooh, should I get that?
Spawn always has like great covers. Like anytime I see a Spawn cover, I'm like, let me check this out.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Oh yeah. Spawn's great. And this has a lot of promise. Can't wait to see more. As it gets closer to being made, being shot, any leaked photos, all that stuff, all those goody nutrients for our mind. I want all that. I want it all. And I'm really curious as to how they're going to costume her. Are they going to stick to this design, or are they going to, are they going to cover her up?
Looking forward to it overall. Now, this is sort of like a Warner Brothers themed show today because we have Scooby-Doo live action series. Now, as that works at Netflix, but it's Warner Brothers is producing it, meaning they're licensing or quote unquote selling the project to Netflix for Netflix to make, and again, put out a live action Scooby-Doo. Now, I think most of us were aware of the previous live action films and things like that. I think this is what it says, a series. So that's interesting in itself.
Yeah.
But what really stands out, I think, with me, Retro, is it is that Warner Brothers, again, willing to, be open for business. Like, this is their way to make money without paying for production off of their IP. What's your thoughts with that? And again, I'm not saying like, oh, I can't wait to see it. Like, if it's interesting people, but the business side of it, this is, I guess, another smart decision by Warner Brothers.
So yes, absolutely. I feel as if, Warner Brothers has their own streaming platform that they can easily put this on. Why aren't they using it? They're not using it because it's much more feasible for them to use someone like Netflix or Amazon because it takes the pressure off of them. And they don't have to worry about marketing. They don't have to worry about any of that stuff because Amazon's got its own built-in publicity means, and also people like as soon as you go to Netflix, you see a list of brand new, recently added movies to their platform. And so this is also another form of advertisement or marketing. And look, anytime, I mean, most of us have some sort of way of learning about what new things are on Netflix because most of us have Netflix. We want to know what's coming out now.
Everyone has Netflix, right?
Yeah. And so this is one of the most brilliant ideas that they had over at Warner Brothers. Actually, before this thing even gets started, already have your streaming platform ready. And this is why we had movies where they were trying to figure out, okay, where are we going to put this movie we developed? And there was another Scooby-Doo movie that they actually had a tax write-off on, if I'm not mistaken. If memory serves me correct. Did they?
I think they ended up releasing the Scooby-Doo 2.
They did?
Oh no, it was a separate. You're right.
Or wasn't it a Christmas movie?
They released the Christmas one, but it was another one. Like you're correct. It was. Okay. It was one they ended up putting out. That was the Scooby, the Scrappy, and the Justice League. That was actually cool.
Oh
Actually, I
yeah.
really like that one.
Oh
That's probably
snap.
the best Scooby film ever. Like, we got the Flash in there, albeit not as much, but you got Superman and Batman. But anyway, there's a separate Scooby project. Yes, it was
Yes.
a text project.
So yeah, this is a way for them to get these projects already slotted in a place to show them. And they don't have to worry about dealing with like, okay, where do we put this? Are we going to get our money back?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
Netflix is putting some of the bill for this, right? Not at least,
exactly.
yeah. So,
Yeah.
and as far as like real hype level for this, um, it's probably not that much. I mean, from what I've been
Mm-hmm.
hearing from people, they're concerned about it because it's going to be live action, and the people
Mm-hmm.
who are actually going to be putting this together are not did not have successful projects in the past. So
Mm-hmm.
well, we're talking about the guy who did Cowboy Bebop, one of the
Oh
creators of
yes, yeah,
yeah the live
yeah.
action. And so this is this is sort of the legacy it's taking into this project. If they manage, because I believe that sometimes as an artist you can make mistakes, and
Mm-hmm.
you can correct by continuing to work and perfect your talent. And so they could possibly make a great show, and we won't know until we start getting more details, like who they're casting,
Mm-hmm.
and what people are going to be laser focused about for this is it message based or is it story based? Do you know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean?
Yeah.
And also, yeah, like I said, casting is very important. Are we getting the are we switching genders? Are we switch race switching with the characters? And most, if we're judging by what people are doing, most likely there will be some sort of switch or something like
Something
that,
to
because that's
distract the story. Yeah.
yeah, which is probably going to cause that issue to come up with people saying, "Hey, you didn't accurately cast these characters," and so let we have to wait to see what they do. What are they going
Yeah.
to do? Because and where is it? How is it going to be set? Is it going to be set in the '60s and the time period in which
Yeah.
this
A, lo-
all?
yeah. A lot is kept on the wraps for sure.
Mhm.
I think no story details at all. The main thing is, it's being given to Netflix. According to the deal, it's similar to the structure of a Dead Boy Detectives. That's a DC
Okay.
property through
Yeah.
Warner Brothers Television,
Mhm.
and they in effect, sold the project to Netflix. Like, here, Netflix, you make it.
Mhm.
Our names will be on there as producer. People at Netflix will be, footing the cost for that. They are footing the cost for the production for Dead
Mhm.
Boy Detectives, which I haven't watched yet, but I'm gonna check it out because
Yeah.
it's DC. And one thing too with the
That's
Scooby Doo
interesting.
brand, and
Yeah.
that makes it interesting overall is that um, Warner Brothers, they have that Velma Scooby
Yes.
mature Scooby show. Now, I haven't watched it. I just have not been interested in any trailer I've watched for it. So,
Yes.
it's stuff that I don't think I'm gonna like. I'm not gonna watch it. But
Yes.
uh, it's on its second season, I believe,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
that's successful. And they found an audience
Yes.
right there.
Yes.
But and again, this is the business side where they're
Mhm.
like, maybe we don't put money into a second Scooby Doo series. Let's
Yes.
allow Netflix to do it. That's still our brand, right? And so we're kind of seeing how, again, Warner Bros. Is thinking. And of course, this gets a lot of people's wheels turning because
Yes.
it's been long documented as far as uh, Zack Snyder fans. We would love to see Zack do another DC project.
Mhm.
And if Warner Brothers and Netflix are doing these partnerships,
Ah.
maybe it's still a chance, right? Maybe it's still a chance to for
People
them
are
to
connecting the
sell the
dots.
Snyderverse. Yeah, yeah, maybe so, right? But with this, as far as the Scooby Doo thing, though,
Yeah.
again, no real details. The writers, don't even really know the writers that well. I think this is just them saying, "Hey, someone has an idea. maybe we like the idea, but we don't want to pay for it. Let's go to a topic here. It'll be our final topic, actually. Probably a pretty interesting story about The Rock and Red One. Now, if people don't know, The Rock and $7, I'll just give full disclosure here. Not too much full, but I will say I think it's been well documented on my platform that I do have some personal ties to people that's in the know of stuff that goes with $7 production. I'll just say it like that. So am I going to be biased in this story? Yes, I am going to be biased in this story. I'm going to be completely biased.
Honest of you.
Yeah. So I'm just going to be very clear. Now, obviously, if there's something, any kind of wrongdoing and evidence of it, then yeah, I'll be fair with that. But I always told my audience, Retro, for a couple of years, I said, y'all will know when I'm chilling. And y'all saw leading up to Black Adam, and I got the Cavill information and things like that, and beyond what they were trying to do, and even now what The Rock and $7 is doing. First off, The Rock, he and I think this is clear. This is not just me saying it. Everything he's a part of, it turns to gold. He got into the Fast franchise. It was already big, but it was better with The Rock.
Yeah.
The Moana series, they got part 2 coming out. That's a huge franchise. The Rock is at the center of that. You had if wrestling fans out there, WWE.
Oh yeah.
You just had the biggest WrestleMania event. They got me back watching wrestling. Yes, because The Rock was a part of it, right? So he has his hands in a lot of things, is the point that I'm trying to make.
Yeah.
And hey, success is success. So when you are successful, one thing I've learned, you kind of make enemies in the industry, no matter what field you're in. It's gonna be a little envy right there. So this story of Red One, side note, before we get to Red One, The Rock, Ryan Reynolds, and Gal Gadot had a Red Notice on Netflix.
Yes,
that was another huge, that's the #1 film ever on Netflix.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
What The Rock does, he always makes big things. I mean, I can't, so that's just the facts right there, right? So Red One is a series of projects that The Rock and $7 Productions is partnered with Amazon. So this is an Amazon film via the MGM. So this likely will have a theatrical run and then go to Amazon for streaming, right? Sort of like that Ben Affleck film Air, which is a great film. Have you seen that film, Retro?
No,
Air.
No,
you have to watch. Now it's on Amazon, so not everybody keeps Amazon all the time, but that is a great movie.
Anyway. I'm gonna make sure I watch it.
Yeah, that is a great. Ben Affleck is really, I think he wrote it. I think he wrote it and directed. He's a supporting character in it as well too. So very powerhouse thing. But anyway, Red One is Amazon. It says Red One down. How Dwayne Johnson's tardiness led to a $250 million runaway production exclusive. The Amazon MGM film was delayed to November 2024 release. Well, it always was going to be released. That's what I'm saying. As we go through this, Retro, they already decided this was going to. It's a Red One is a film. He's basically like the secret society for. He's like the bodyguard for Santa, right?
That's what I was getting from the pictures. Yeah. And
like
me, I love Christmas movies, so this is. I'm already there. My hype level is at 20.
right. So I'm already going to watch this, obviously. But so the concept, you got the family thing, you're going to have action because The Rock's in it as well. This sounds interesting. Right now, the point is, it was always a holiday film. They decided last year that they weren't going to force it out last holiday season. So of course it's coming out. It's like, it's a delay. It always was a holiday film. Anyway.
Yeah, and where else would you drop a movie like this? Like if it's a Christmas movie, you want to drop it like right around Thanksgiving, right?
Exactly. And again,
that would be my straight, my technique.
Exactly. And so it says here, for more than 2 decades, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson has nurtured a reputation as a hardworking, muscle-bound action comedy movie star with considerable box office drawing power. But Red won, according to this writer here. A high-powered Christmas crowd pleaser for Amazon MGM has turned to a massive budgetary misadventure, casting Johnson's fame and work ethic in a different light. By whom, buddy? That's what we like. Who's casting down? That's the only article that's casting down. Now, it was originally slated, as I mentioned, to come out last Christmas season. They decided last year to delay. There were strikes last year, people. But you see, again, being clear, Retro, this is obviously a hit piece. Okay. It's obviously a hit piece against The Rock at $7. And their reasoning is a lot of conjecture. We're like, well, supposedly it's because of the strikes. Yeah, buddy, a lot of stuff got delayed. Deadpool Wolverine got delayed. A lot. So what makes this film different, right? That's the weird thing. Now, according to what they're saying here, those production issues. We talked about how hardworking The Rock is, right? And everything he touches gold. According to their insiders, they're saying Dwayne Johnson's chronic lateness and lack of professionalism on set to producers caused costs on the movie. You have Chris Evans and J.K. Simmons in it to spiral upwards to a final budget over $250 million, a sum of more fitting for a superhero tentpole. Now, with the budget, Retro, I want to get your thoughts on this. I think it's clear, we saw this through the COVID situation where there's COVID delays and things. Now you got the strike delays. Your experience as far as with that can affect the budget, right?
That can definitely affect the budget. And whether this is true or not, The Rock's been working for so many years. This is the first time we're hearing about this. And we've already gone through the Me Too time. People were snitching left and right on Jared Leto on the set of Suicide Squad. This kind of behavior people don't get away with, and The Rock isn't that big that he can get away with this. Like he doesn't own it. He has his own studio, but he doesn't own movie studios.
Right, exactly. And
I'm not saying that it's not true, but I don't. This is very unusual to me. The person who they're getting the information from is just industry insider. No name attached to it. Not a former assistant. Just someone who is telling random stories about things that happen on the set of this movie and other movies. It feels like rumor. And that's really disappointing because this is really bad for the movie itself. So if this person is an insider, they can't be actually working on this movie because this would actually tank part of their resume.
That's true.
So anybody working on this film would not just out of nowhere just say, okay, I'm going to ruin the celebrity that, the big star of the movie that I'm working on. I'm going to ruin his career right now because I want to, tell the story about how horrible he is. I think this is, there's something fishy going on. I don't trust it at all.
It's not adding up, especially The Rock. This is the same person that had the WrestleMania event, and the very next day he was in Vegas for a CinemaCon event for Moana. So he's always on the move. He's always making these appearances. There's just this one time this was happening. That's a little fishy, I would say, because the story got pretty big because negative news. People talk about it.
Yeah.
I will say other people that's worked with The Rock at $7, they have spoke out publicly defending The Rock, which is good to see. And The Rock is business as usual. He's promoting his other stuff. He has the energy drink, the tequila, and so It's always a great example. Like even for me, just at my little platform, it's like just keep working. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
ignore the noise
Mm,
with that. But I think we can agree, retro.
mm.
Like last year with the strikes, I think it went till like fall. So you wouldn't have been able to promote this film at all. You know, you
Oh
would have
yeah,
just
yeah, yeah.
so it makes sense that they would delay it. Just like again,
Oh yeah.
Marvel, just for example, the Captain America 4 film,
Hmm.
that film was done and shot and everything before the strikes, and they
Yeah.
still delayed it to 2025.
Yes,
Right.
yes, yes. And remember Dune. Dune was ready to go, but they made the decision to put it off until March, was it? And in order to get the stars back on there. And so we didn't just have the actors strike, we had also the writers strike. And so those two strikes can really mess up a budget. There is I'm not ready to just believe everything on this particular article. Um,
Mhm.
I'm not ready to not believe it either. Like there could have been one day when something like this happened where he was late 5 hours, and that could happen if your plane is held over or something.
Mhm.
I mean, these things happen sometimes, and sometimes you're waiting for people, and it doesn't mean that it's something that he does every single day. So this is one of those moments where I'm not sure what to believe here. It seems
Right.
odd that he's been working with very, very outspoken, popular celebrities throughout the
Mhm.
years, and they would tolerate him showing up on set 5 to 7 hours late. I don't think so.
Just a weird angle with this. They give an example, like it says, he shows up 8 hours supposedly late to the set, forcing
Yeah,
the crew to shoot around him on some days, which
yeah,
I think is a normal thing. If he can't
that
be
could
there,
happen.
yeah.
Yeah, that could happen if he also, like, if he has an injury, if he has a family,
Mhm,
emergency,
mhm.
he also has other things that he's doing, like you
Plenty.
mentioned before with, the wrestling. If he's at an event, halfway across the country, and there's, bad weather and he can't get to wherever he needs to go. He's got to wait until the weather clears before these are little things
Mhm.
that could be part of the bigger picture that we're just hearing. That's like this story. And like I said, I don't believe it may have merit in maybe one or two situations that might have happened,
Mhm.
but for him to categorically actually, like, be late five
Like
to seven
purposely.
hours is something we would have known about. We would have heard about it. At
Yeah, it
least say
definitely
like
is an
former
interest.
grip, and give
Yeah,
me,
yeah.
like, give me something. Give me something.
This is someone that obviously, they just have a grudge. Maybe The Rock or $7 didn't keep their crew for their next project or something, and so they want to
Yeah.
smear this one. Yeah,
Water
so this
bottle.
is the weird,
Yeah.
this is the weird thing. This is how you know this article just wants to be negative because
Mhm.
first they're saying he's late and he's costing them time,
Mhm.
and then on the other hand they're saying, oh, but when he has to pee, he pees in the water bottle.
Yeah.
Which, if you do that, that actually is saving time, right? Like, I'm just saying. Let's say he's actually doing that.
Yeah.
So, is he
Yeah.
costing more time, or is he trying to save time?
Yeah.
I'm
I
just,
mean,
I'm just
what if
saying.
he's on his jet and the bathroom's out and he has to, go really bad and he does that. I mean, I'm not saying you should do that, but hey, if you've got to go, it's better than going on yourself, but um or making a big mess somewhere. But honestly, this is more of the kind of stuff that, why are we sharing that? You know,
Right.
what is it's specifically to embarrass
Yep. Yep.
and tarnish his career. Now, and one could even say that maybe The Rock is overexposed. maybe he's just too out there, and now it's time. Because if you're out there too long, for too long, people start to like change from, oh, that he's a national treasure to, oh, we hate him. And he hasn't really done anything to garner the hate except for be out in the public. And so now they're people are like literally turning on him, ready to eat him.
Yeah, like the people are just waiting for his downfall.
I
And
I knew he was up to no good.
like I knew it. And again, the great thing about The Rock is business as usual. He is still dropping different projects. This film, I think. I mean, hey, I like how this film is sounding. As it says, a villain kidnaps Santa Claus, and they basically join forces with him. He's a bounty hunter to find Santa and save Christmas. Like every kid's gonna watch this movie.
Yeah, look. I love Christmas movies, so this sounds like it's gonna be corny and fun, and we need some more stuff. And people, look, a lot of people are like, "Hey, we need more male-centric movies." Well, here's one right here, where you're gonna have a guy, and they didn't swap out Santa Claus for a lady. A real man is gonna be playing Santa Claus, guys. So this should be right up everybody's alley, but instead they're harping and like totally like really, I mean, people took to this story. Every single video reporter, pundit is covering this. They're covering this and comment and it's some people are actually believing it. They're believing it without even questioning that there is a possibility that this could be a false story planted by somebody who doesn't want to reveal their identity because it's not they don't want to be called out on this stuff. This is bad. This is really bad rumor stuff.
Yeah, that's a straight rumor. I mean, this is on the Wrap, so this is not this is not a trade that has the most credible reputation.
We have to be aware when we're being manipulated and when people are giving us BS stories, not wanting to reveal names, not wanting to give us actual detail. A lot of people are bringing up old arguments that he had with they said the Fast and Furious, the Vin Diesel. The reason why Vin Diesel and The Rock are having had their problems was because of this lateness, which is like, wow, why didn't we hear about this? Number one, and number two, why did Vin Diesel go on social media begging The Rock to join his
the whole
project?
Cast was
why,
and they finally got him back in this last one here at a post-credit scene. And that was a nice audience moment. Yeah. If he was such a terrible person to work with and he was always late, like you said, why would they have been begging him for like 3 or 4 films to come back?
Yeah.
Just saying, man. Like, so with this, again, this article, a lot of rumor-based stuff, but it's saying that there was a footage of this film premiered. It was footage this past year, the CinemaCon event that I was mentioning. Amazon showed some footage. It was kind of like a private screening, and journalists was not allowed to write about what they saw. This is a common practice. Now, at times, you can have scene descriptions and things like that, or impressions. But if it's just like a little quick preview, they're just like, we're just going to give you an idea, of what this film's going to be. Yeah. Now, according to this article, they say, while it's common for studios to strategically reveal selected scenes, the complete media blackout surrounding Red One footage suggests, according to them, that Amazon is aware that it will have a rocky road to its release. Where did that come from? Like, just because it's a media blackout, they decide this article is deciding that that's evidence that it will have a rocky road to it. So all they have to do with this film with Amazon is show The Rock jumping over, I don't know, a reindeer or something, and it's like it looks funny, and he's like punching something, and it's like it's gonna be an instant family like classic. Like I really believe that when this comes out.
Yeah,
So yeah,
I
I don't know
mean,
what they're
look,
expecting. This.
I mean, this is one of the strangest things I've ever seen as far as the smear campaign, because there really isn't any actual evidence. There's no video. It's somebody who has um, their their identity hidden, that isn't willing to come out and release the name or the title of what they do. They're talking about what happened on different sets as if they were there, or they know friends that used to worked on those sets. It's like it just makes absolutely no. You can't make an assumption about a movie because they don't want you to write about that movie. This is a common practice. There's no reason for us to know everything about that movie right now, right? And confidentiality that they need to respect. It doesn't mean that the film is bad. It's coming out in November. It's only May.
No, it's like they haven't
We're
started
doing some math here.
they didn't start the media push for you. Now there is a statement from Amazon MGM about this, and they are quoted. It's kind of buried in this article, but it says a spokesman from Amazon MGM denied that there were any on-set issues with Red One or any delays caused by Johnson's lateness or any $7 in experience, which caused the film budget to balloon. So they're denying this, and they actually have a statement saying Dwayne Johnson and $7 have been incredible partners on Red One, a film that audiences of all ages are going to love this holiday season. Our testing has been very strong. This is, again, now everyone may be biased. Like it may just be they're saying it's great, everyone's saying it's bad. We'll see. But it says we couldn't have made it without Dwayne's constant work and support. Any reporting that implies that we got to this point with him showing up 7-8 hours late to the set is both ridiculous and false. So I mean, that's a statement. Like no one's, but you don't see anyone sharing this statement. Everyone's talking about him peeing in a bottle. You know,
which is also, like, again, not saying that it may not have happened. It might have happened, but is it something that you want to tell somebody? Oh yeah, I saw him scratch, his butt, and why would you say something like that? That's private, information. That only is to, on set we saw him digging up his nose quite a few times. That is just the kind of stuff you say to make someone look bad.
WrestleMania event, they said that he was 3 hours late. But it says, this is weird how it's sentence here. It says, earlier this month, he was 3 hours late arriving ahead of his main event match at WrestleMania 40. So I'm trying to understand, like, he arrived
early?
Yeah, this was these are their words, folks. Like, and they said that he drew some boos. Now I don't know if people realize.
Yeah, he has a company.
Villain.
Yeah,
no, he's playing a villain. That's his role.
Yeah,
of course he's getting booed because he's turned heel. He is playing the bad guy. He's the final boss. WrestleMania. Like I love the event because you didn't expect The Rock to turn to the bad guy, right?
Do you think
because he got booed?
So do you think this is a case of maybe someone taking the idea of The Rock being a bad guy for his wrestling persona, to be him actually doing those things or actually being a rotten individual? Like there's sometimes people can blur the lines between an actor and their character.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I think it's more. It's something. Someone has something personal, against The Rock and $7, and they're using this opportunity to try to, get some headlines. It's not going to affect, it's not going to affect. Yeah, it's not going to affect his relationship with Amazon. They already commented on this, and plenty of people publicly, people in the industry have publicly defended The Rock and his reputation, like producers, writers. So, hey, they got their news cycle, right? They got people talking about it. But this isn't the first attempt at attacking The Rock either. Like, this happens like every time he drops a project, you have a smear piece. And I think it's a business thing. It's like a negative grift, as we always say with Zack Snyder and stuff. They get you clicks.
Well,
right?
I will say this: after the promotional stunts for Black Adam, I noticed a huge shift in the way people looked at The Rock. And look, like I said, I don't have any neither bad or good. I think he's an actor who's doing a job on the most part. And the question I have is, can we separate? We can't. I don't think people can separate like their feelings about like a project didn't go well the way they wanted it to, and so he received a lot of blame for that, and it's just been lingering animosity. I think at this point, I'm just going on to but I've noticed the turn, the actual turn to make him out to be a bad guy. And look, I mean, he's also playing a bad guy with the WWE. So
yeah, he's playing it up.
He's playing it up, and he has a lot invested in the company as well. So I don't know. Maybe this is actually good for him if he's playing a bad guy and there's bad press about it, right? Because then he could just continue with this like bad guy character.
This journalist, I would say, a very dishonest journalist, but they was like, oh, it ballooned to $250 million budget. It's out of control. According to Amazon, they said that's how much we're greenlit it for. We gave The Rock at $7 $250 million to make this film. Man. So again,
Amazon is like,
they're smacking all this stuff down. But again, it's buried in this article because everyone's again talking about him peeing in a bottle. Now, this reminds people of you mentioned the Black Adam situation.
Yeah, I didn't realize that they mentioned it too in this article.
Yeah, like it was a transition with DC and this is the regime was changing, and this was their last gasp before doing the reboot with James Gunn. Again, as we talked about, Warner Brothers trying to streamline all their IPs and make smart decisions with money. One last gas was, let's give The Rock $7, $200 million, make Black Adam, and maybe we could start a franchise. It's well documented, didn't make enough money, right? And now around that time, leading up to the Black Adam film coming out, The Rock, $7 production, they were trying to take over DC. That's actually a true thing. They were trying to angle themselves to say, hey, if you need someone to run DC, let's put this movie out. And again, it didn't do well. So of course that killed any chances for $7 to run DC, unfortunately.
But it seems like the gall of them to even try to do something like that has put them in this position of hate just because they tried. And yes, it didn't work. Yes, it for whatever reasons, did not work at the box office, and people have their problems with Black Adam as a movie. I saw it and it was fine. But I think it's valid that people not like the movie, and if they and they didn't go see it. That's the other part, is that they didn't go see it. And so with the failure of that movie, it gave a lot of people the green light to throw Rotten Tomatoes at the Rock, like, yeah, you're a loser, or it would just became sort of like a way of continuously beating the guy up for just even trying to do something he thought maybe he could help with. he heard the fans and he was trying to listen to the fans, but unfortunately, it didn't pan out. And that happens in Hollywood. It just happens.
Yeah,
And it's
everything doesn't
okay.
work.
It's
Yeah.
okay. Yeah. It's okay for people to have failures. But look, after all that's happened, he's doing fine. He's like, what he's doing over there at at WWE is huge. And he's got his own the football.
Yeah, the was it UFL got that going on as
Yeah,
well.
that's
So
huge.
yeah,
And still doing movies. So yeah, he is one of the hardest working people in show business. There are very few people who can do all of that. So
yeah,
yeah, so he's very I think some people admire him and some people really want him to go away. They don't like him anymore. And like I said, it has to do with the exposure. I
yeah.
think
It's
he's
just haters.
overexposed. Yeah, he's
Yeah,
definitely
it just
overexposed at this
yeah,
point.
yeah. People just they're gonna find a reason to be upset at someone that's obviously
Do you
successful.
think that Disney would work with him if he was 5 to 7 hours late all the time?
And they're like doing the sequel. They already, the Moana.
Yeah, they would have found any reason not to hire him for that. Like, okay, we're
and
going in a different direction. We're getting
and
Jason
Disney,
Momoa for this.
yeah, Disney doesn't waste time either. Like if they want,
Yeah,
all right, give them like if they want to get rid of someone,
yeah,
give them a reason, right? So yeah,
yeah.
like I said, I'm not buying it, but going forward as far as with the
Hmm.
Rock's future, because again, this
Yes.
article is filled with just a lot of so-called
Oh,
insiders. Though
yeah.
Amazon is saying no, they keep trying to list examples. So we're past that. The Rock's future, as it says, he has an A24 film, The Smashing Machine. It's a biopic by the UFC fighter Mark Kerr. This is interesting, a more stripped down film, for The Rock,
Ooh.
kind of showing his acting chops. That was a film, probably the best acting job I saw The Rock do. And I don't remember that film off the top. It was like a serious movie. And I thought he was wonderful. His acting was wonderful. Now,
Mm.
of course, he knows his bread and butter is action comedy.
Yes.
Obviously, we
Yes.
know that's what interests people.
Hmm.
But he had this movie, and it's gonna pop up for me.
Was it about a family? Something about
It
a
was him trying to snitch. It was called Snitch,
oh, snitch.
2013, where he's trying to like save his son, and it the best acting, The Rock, and I'm surprised he doesn't get more roles like that. But
Interesting. Yeah, I
you
have to
know,
put that on my list. Snitch.
yeah, that is definitely a good watch.
Hmm.
Definitely a good watch. So yeah, like I said, with doing this A24 film, which is known for more like story driven character
Dramas. Yeah.
studies. Yeah, A24 had that the Iron Claw film. Please tell me you're going to see that. That's like one of the best
Oh
films
yeah,
ever.
yeah,
Yeah, that's one of the best films ever. Iron Claw is
yeah. Hmm.
basically the story of a bunch of wrestling brothers. It
Yeah, yeah. I heard that that's a good
is a
movie.
great story. Yeah, that is a great story. So that's the studio doing The Rock's next film. Now, according to this article, they say an insider is skeptical if that production will go smoothly with the Smashing Machine. It's supposed to start shooting in May, so this month to
Uh-huh.
August.
Hmm.
A24 obviously doesn't spend too much money on their film, so I think they're gonna get that done. But again, according to uh, this article, a lot of insiders, a lot of people,
Hmm.
in Hollywood, they, it's there's some jealousy. It's
It's strange to me.
you know what I mean. This
Yeah.
goes in. I mean, I'm trying to think like this happens in politics. You have people
Hmm.
smearing people in politics.
Hmm.
You know, all the CEOs. I mean, if you think like you got Bob Iger with Disney, not saying he's doing a great job, but there's nonstop negative reports about him.
Hmm.
Obviously with Zaslav, we hear all the time. I think it's just
Hmm.
when you're on top of whatever field you're in, you're going to have like a bunch of haters. Like,
It's true, and this is part of the job, right?
mhm,
It's just
mhm.
that regular people, like us, we're watching, we're looking at the news, and we're trying to figure out what is true and what isn't.
If Amazon is refuting these reports all through this article.
Yes.
I shouldn't be shocked, but I'm shocked that has not been advertised out there.
Yes. So. And, well, we have Emily Blunt, who has worked with The Rock previously, who's in contract to work with him again. Do you think she would do? This is a woman who worked on Oppenheimer, who was on Oppenheimer, up for an Oscar. Do you think she would work with somebody who's 5 to 7 hours late consistently every single day? No. Yeah, and look, this is what I think. One day he came in, he was supposed to be there, he didn't show up, and it could have been a plane problem, it could have been storms, it could have been any reason why he didn't, he was going to be 5 hours late. And so, so this is what he does all the time. You know what I mean? You in context, how true is this? Right, is the question that's I asked. It could have happened once, but that was enough to cement that it always happens. He's like this always.
I mean, I don't believe a person will be this successful in multiple ventures if this is actually a reputation, a habit of being late and unprofessional. I don't believe. I don't believe it. And
I think he would have been called out like a long time ago.
Yeah, and again, to see the public support of producers, writers, people in the industry, publicly with their face attached to it, claiming that he is professional, he is a hard worker, and we see it from the results. I mean, if you're not hard, even I like making videos. I know if I'm slacking, like it's going to affect the quality of what I do. I mean, that's just I'm not going to be successful. Anything that you do. So yeah, very silly stuff with that there, but interesting, passionate conversation about.
Yes, it's eye opening because I love uncovering the truth, especially when it's about the public and what the public is getting. They can give us anything. They can give us any information they want. They print it and they put these headlines out there and people gobble it up. I know this firsthand from personal friends of mine that have been put in the news like that. And they wrote all sorts of weird things about them that wasn't true. And it is disappointing to see how people believe easily the things that reporters say and just like go with it. Okay, yes, he did. So what if he peed in a bottle?
That was the worst thing he's ever done, according to them. So
if you told me he like killed 5 people, okay, we killed one person.
Maybe we should be worried. Yeah, maybe
I'm like, what? He killed somebody.
Someone died.
Yeah. Can we get our rage in order? Like, let's be upset at people, actual crimes and things like that, and not just like somebody, who's adjusting their underpants on set, or
knowing The Rock. If I'm The Rock, because maybe I'm more petty than The Rock, but I would have it in my next film of me peeing in the bottle. Like I would literally do it.
He's gonna make fun of this. He's gonna make fun of this.
It's like that's the headline. Like really? Oh my God. So
yeah,
amazing stuff. Great topics for this week. It ended up being a Warner Brothers special, which I didn't intend.
Oh yeah.
But it was a lot of good news as far as with this week. With Retro, again, we do this every week. We have covering all film, pop culture, news, box office, things like that. Interesting stuff as usual. For myself, sylabdul, appreciate Retro Nerd Girl making this possible, and we will catch y'all next time. I think next week we'll probably talk a little more Planet of the Apes, probably the Fall Guy. There's a few things that have pop up.
That sounds good. More Universal film. Yeah.
So we'll see. And so, all right, less Warner Brothers next week. And for Warner Brothers haters out there, yeah, people like slamming the keyboard, like, we quit praising Warner Brothers. But anyway, before I get myself in trouble, we're gonna go and get on out of here for this week. Weekly with Retro. Till next time.